Hey everyone, Ekman here with another video, and I'm on the road right now. I'm in Dallas, Texas, on my way to Japan, but I do really quickly want to make a video on my experience of One Piece Day, as well as the announcement of a global release of the One Piece card game. So this is going to be a quicker video, and I do apologize if the quality is a little bit lower since I am on the road, but I did want to go over it real quick as well. So I also want to say big shout outs to Play and Bandai for hosting the event. I had a lot of fun, and for inviting myself as well as Doa and Orange Samurai for being the commentators for both days of the tournament. I really liked the production that they did, and also being able to have 3 matches for each, one match per pod, being able to switch between. I think it was like one of the best, if not the best, like produced One Piece stream that they've ever had. So I really am happy to be a part of it. Right now, I think they're unlisted on YouTube, but I have links to both days if you guys want to see some of the tournament action. And I really do appreciate everyone who came up and said hi to me. Everyone was super nice, very kind, and I really do love this community. And I had a really great time out here too. So I do want to say a big thank you for that. I'm probably not going to do like a vlog video for my experiences, so I just wanted to mention it here as well. So, but the big thing is that, again, we do have the release of the One Piece card game at the same time. So it's saying 2026, so it could be December 31st, 2026. But hopefully there is a chance that, it's going to be kind of accelerated like it is for the Digimon card game. If you guys don't know, Digimon is in the kind of same boat as we were, but they were maybe like the guinea pig for this kind of thing. They North America was behind. English version was behind from the Japanese version of the game, but then they spent most of 2024 ramping up releases, also combining some releases to make it so that the Digimon card game right now for Worlds of 2025, or at least in the 2024 season in 2025, we're all on the same meta, which is really interesting. So they just are coming out with a new set that's going to be the release of everything, the link of the 2 metas. So I think that's maybe what they're going to try to do for One Piece. It sounds like it's going to be a little bit ambitious, but it's kind of just generally showing the trend of what Bandai is doing with their card games. Even though they're a Japanese company, they're trying to globalize all of their card games, right? Fusion World was the same on release. We have Gundam coming out in July. That's like that. Digimon's caught up as well, and now they're doing that for One Piece. So honestly, I know that the big thing that I don't think is said enough. This is a huge effort from them, right? Like being able to have to develop, everything in like so many different languages and make sure that they're released at the same time around the world is a huge effort. So I do want to commend Bandai for being able to do that. For now, 4 card games, which is insane. I think some competitors, such as like Pokemon, as well as Yu-Gi-Oh. Like Yu-Gi-Oh is like based historically about having 2 different formats, depending if it's on the Japanese or English version of the game. As far as I know, Pokemon is on like a different release schedule too. So being able to catch up not only like 1 game, but 4 different games at the popularities that theirs are and that the quantities that they're making for it, I think is a huge amount of effort, but also a huge step for like this globalization of these card games. So one other thing, I think mostly this is good, but I will say, let me, I guess, just go for it. So the best thing about this in my mind, and why is this good, right? Some people are like, why is this a big deal? And I had some people ask me literally on the floor this weekend. And so the big reason for me personally is that we don't know what is good on release. There's been kind of this thing where we get a set, but it's been mostly developed in Japan. We know what the best decks are. We have ways to optimize it a little bit, or be able to quote unquote play the deck better, as some people might say. But that's kind of as for me personally, as more of like a deck builder or someone who likes to see a meta like change and develop over the weeks of a release, it's a little bit stale, right? Because we don't get as much changes. Sometimes we do get some minor unique formats here in the English version, depending on like product release schedules, or if we do or don't get some promos. So that's kind of exciting. But the biggest issue is that like we don't get to kind of be part of the meta. We're just kind of a consequence of the meta too. So that's why I'm really excited for this. This is something where you can say, oh, this is something we're developing, or someone found this tech and they're in Germany and they, now everyone gets to see it, or you get to see some waves and ripples. And I think that's something that's really cool that, again, we don't get to really participate at the same level with the current release schedule that we have for the English version. So the one negative, and I've said this on record before, but I want to mention it again, is that it is the worst thing about it is that if we have a format that is just like day 0, there's a tier 0 deck, right? If there's something that is found that's just breaks everything, that's a little bit unfortunate. All right, there's been a couple times already where on the Japanese release they find out like, oh, guess what? Trafalgar Law is really broken in this set, right? Or right now, as of recording, right, blue and purple Luffy is really strong in this format as OP11 gets released in Japan, right? I would be happy to avoid a format where we see these tier 0 decks just so dominant, right? So we were able to avoid that. We got somewhat of a unique format because of that, which I thought was really cool. But you know, that is the only consequence, is that if there's a time when the balancing is incorrect, or there's just kind of this meta that lets you develop a really like tier 0-ish deck, then that's a little bit of an issue. And so I do think that's something that can happen with this new release schedule. But conversely, at the same time, I think with everyone on the same format and with everyone being able to say, hey, this is broken, I think they're going to have more eyes. And I think the other issue, too, is that they didn't want to have like a restriction list that was only for the English version. They've tried that before. I don't think they liked how it worked for that. And then so being able to say, you know what, conversely, like the whole world is saying, hey, this card is broken or this is an unfun interaction, I think that means that they can accelerate how restriction list works if that needs, and there can be a better chance of like an emergency ban list if that's a required thing for the game too. So that's what my hopes are for it, and I think it's pretty reasonable as well. So and just a couple more things though before we close this one out. So we do also have a unique format coming out. So we do have a 2025 June release. This was a little bit incorrect on their slide, but these are kind of like a second wave of like the reprint boosters that we have. So we've got Shanks, we've got Bonnie, we've got Buggy, we've got purple and black Luffy, we've got the Teach, as well as the Yamato yellow and green deck. So these are releasing at the same time, and I think these are pretty neat with all of these. You know, what we don't know what these unique cards are, right? When we had the first wave of them for you know, like Doflamingo, purple Luffy, etc. We, you know, each one got like 4 cards, so I think it says 5 cards for these ones. We get some new stuff, so that's great to see these. Some of these are pretty new, right? Like half of these decks, or actually 4 of these decks came out in OP09. So having like OP09, OP10, and this wave of new decks is really interesting. But I think that's cool that we get to do it first. This will be coming out in the OP11 meta for Japan, but will be coming out for the OP10 EBO2 meta for us. So I think that's really cool. And then we also have like the current like half of the release schedule, right? We do know that we're getting the Star Deck 23 and 28 with OP11. Japan will be likely into OP12 when they get their Star Deck 23, 28. I think I said OP11 earlier, but yeah, OP12 for it. We get EBO2 in May and then OP12 in August for us. And then we're likely going to see a little bit more of an accelerated schedule too. So it's either we get accelerated or Japan gets a little decelerated as they try to match it up. So one other thing is that Digimon did do this thing where they did it twice. On the release of the game, they had this thing called a special booster. So they condensed the first 3 sets into 2 sets. So set 1.0 and 1.5 were a combination of 1, 2, and 3, and then usually 2 and 3 for 1.5. And then for the kind of convergence that they did for this last effort, they did the thing where they did a special booster 2 and 2.5, which were 2 sets that condensed 17, 18, and 19. So I think that's something that could be possible for One Piece, where they make this kind of like pirate set where they condense, you know, 2 sets over 3 sets over 2 releases to try to get us caught up a little bit quicker. I'm not sure if that's going to happen. They haven't really shown anything from the second half of it, and we kind of know that because kind of the cheat sheet for this is looking at like distributor info on what they're expecting to get in the next couple of months. So this is they just released this. I'm sure they've been trying to hold back as much as they can to not get this, you know, leaked through distributors. But I think this is something that's going to be really exciting, and it's going to be interesting to see how quick the releases are. But we kind of already see it that, you know, it's usually a 3-month gap. We have it in March, and then we also have it in June, right? But that's going to be June into August. So my guess is that we're going to get OP13 likely in like October. Which might be a little bit quick, but that's going to be there. And then maybe after that, like an OP14 in like December. So that's my kind of my prediction for it. And that's kind of where it is. So I don't have much more to say. I got to pack up, get ready for Japan, but that's where I'm at. I'm really excited for it. I know you guys are. I know I'm late on this video too, but I wanted to go over, make some talks for it, and just see what you guys are feeling and if you guys are excited for this as well. So that's going to be it for me. I'm going to be on the road. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you all next time.